now, if you're to the point where you're, you know, getting your own seeds, harvesting your own seeds and everything, then you probably don't need this winter project list, right? Because you've already got a lot of your ducks in a row. But if you are ordering your seeds from a seed company, you need to be doing that now. Especially if you have a short growing season, because if you have a short growing season, you're going to have to start growing seeds indoors for like things like tomatoes and pepper, especially peppers. You're going to have to start that stuff indoors as early as February. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Homestead HQ, where we talk about homesteading and preparedness. My name is Shelly.
I'm Jason, and you got it right this time. Good job.
I did. I didn't think about it. As long as I was talking kind of slow.
And looking at your hand and going, hey, as long as it's not live, you're fine.
Right?
So
yeah, when it's live, I jack it all up.
Oh yeah. Guys, bear with us just a little bit. We are busy as all get out. We got tons of stuff going. We're getting ready for Thanksgiving. So bear with us, and after Thanksgiving, we promise to get back on regular schedule. So, but with that being said, let's jump into our sponsors real quick, because we know it is almost Thanksgiving, and that means Black Friday and Cyber Monday. And of course, you know, the best deals of the year. But I'll tell you, VacMaster, it's vacmasterfresh.com. They're one of the sponsors that make the show happen. They've got 15% off chamber sealers and up to 15% off bags. You can stack that on top of the code Homestead, and it'll save you close to 30. Yeah, close to 30%. I don't know what kind of voodoo math they do, but I do know it stacks. So run over and check out vacmasterfresh.com. They've got an extra 15% off chamber sealers, and then up to 15% off bags, and then use the code Homestead, and that will stack. Also, Signature Solar. Go to signaturesolar.com. They've got pre-Black Friday deals that are happening right now. I know they've got the Anchor solar generators on sale, and I've got a video coming out pretty soon on the Anchor 3800 model that I've been playing with here at the shop, and that I used over in East Tennessee and Western North Carolina when I was over there. But they got pre-Black Friday deals going on now, and they've also got 5% off site-wide. That's going on November 13th through December 3rd. So go check those guys out. Use the code Homestead on both of those, and it'll save you some money on your purchases. So, Shelly, what have you got going on? I'm not going to ask if you opened the chamber sealer yet.
Oh, my God.
You've got until Saturday to open that.
I will. By the time we do this again, I will have opened it, because we're butchering a hog, probably 2 hogs on Saturday, and I'll have to have something. I ordered a couple boxes, and so a couple boxes of bags for the chamber sealer, and those boxes come. There's like 1,000 in a box, 1,000 bags for the chamber sealer. And, you know, that special that they've got going on right now, it was running last week. It's their Black Friday deal. So I got, I want to say, a box of 10 by 13s and a box of 8 by 12, I think. And my total for those was like $250, and I got them for $180. Yeah. So whatever that voodoo math is, the discount, because I used the discount for the bags being on sale and the discount for using Homestead, and got that much. Was that like $70 off of my order? So that's pretty good.
Oh yeah, and I mean a thousand bags is going to last somebody a long time.
Right.
I mean, what did we use? Those 3 sheep that we did the other day. What did we use? Maybe 15 bags.
No, we probably, because I used some of your bags too. I'm going to say altogether with mine and yours, we probably used maybe about 35 bags, something like that. Because I brought home like about 10 to 12 packages.
Yeah.
So you probably had 25, something like that with yours.
So, I mean,
bigger than mine, and you had all that ground that you made too. So,
yeah. So, I mean, 1,000 bags is going to last somebody quite a long time. I mean, Because when we did the chicken processing, I got a box of 1,000. They're the 15 by 18-inch bags, those monster bags.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a box of 1,000 of those, and I mean that's going to take, because you don't. I mean, you can darn near fit most of a side of bacon in there.
Wow.
So it's gonna take a while. I've got to order some more bags too, because I've just got. I don't have too many left, so I'm going to order some probably in the next day or two. So I'll have some more variety bags sitting around. So
around here, let's see, Randy and I are working on the chicken coop that's out by the barn, and we've got the fence up around it. And I bought some deer netting to put over the top to keep them in and all that kind of stuff, but we don't have that on yet. We would have done that this coming up weekend, but we're butchering a hog, and that's going to take pretty much the whole weekend. So we probably, I don't know, we might get some of it done on Friday. I have no idea. But, and I've been doing inventories on my freezers to figure out what I have. I cleaned out the big freezer downstairs just to make room for the hog. So I cooked up a bunch of chicken that we had in the freezer down there, and I canned that up and did that this weekend. I got like 4 quarts of chicken and 8 or 9 quarts of, no, I think I got about a dozen quarts of chicken, or not quarts, but pints of chicken broth. And then I canned up 31 pints of carrots and just doing that kind of thing to make room for the hog. And so that's what I've been up to.
Wow. I had been up to, trying to think everything I did. I did a fair amount last week. I mean, I've been busy with work, putting in new doors on the house and stuff like that. Today, I spent 9+ hours grinding a floor. We're doing an epoxy job down at a factory in Franklin. So literally me and Mike spent 9 hours grinding the floor, which is the most mundane task in the world. You're literally standing there holding this floor grinder and doing like this. And it's like you're dancing all day. And it's no kidding. I mean, it's like you're two-stepping all day long, and your hips are going side to side, like your hips are worn out. It's like my hips hurt. So, but yeah, that's what we did. So we're this factory shut down. We're doing a factory shutdown. They're going to be closed this week. So we got this week to get the floor done in that spot. So we're looking good though. But yesterday I got the Starlink out, and there's a video up on doing that, because I bought a Starlink essentially after I saw, the communications quagmire and no internet and stuff like that over in after the hurricane in Tennessee and North Carolina. I was like, I need some kind of backup, something here at the house, because if the grid goes down, the fiber's out, the cell phone towers are messed up and stuff like that. You can literally, it took me like 5 minutes to deploy this Starlink, hook it up, set it out. I just set it out in front of the shop. Set it out in front of the shop in the parking lot of the shop, plug the thing in. It takes about 10 minutes to get its bearings on where it's at and connect to the satellites. And I was like, boom, it's set and ready to go.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I thought, because I had watched a bunch of videos on it, and I'm like, I hope this thing's fast. And people were, showing the speeds and the megabits per second and all that crap. I'm like, that it goes right over my head. I'm like, sure. I was like, I want to know if I can pull a website up and it doesn't take like dial-up time, or if I can watch a YouTube video.
I was gonna say, I'm happy with that kind of thing if I can stream video. If I can't stream video, then it's worthless to me.
I pulled up just one of the first YouTube videos that came up on my phone. Watched an 8-minute video, no buffering, no nothing.
Wow.
And I was like, hey, this thing works. So I hooked that up, did a video with it, and played with it some yesterday. I've got a Condition 1 case coming, so I can make it. The Condition 1 cases are like Pelican cases. They're made down in Texas. I've got one of those coming, so I can have it all in a nice protective case and throw it in the bed of the truck and go somewhere if I need to.
It's cool.
So that, and then Saturday I just kind of messed around here at the house, and relaxed a little bit. So that's all that I've been doing. I've got other stuff I need to do, but I was kind of lazy on Saturday. I won't deny that.
It's okay to have a lazy day every once in a while, right?
Yes. So, what kind of news have you got?
So, it's an article or a story that I read today earlier this morning when I was at work. And it's not like like usually we have something silly or funny or weird or whatever. It's not anything like that. It's actually just kind of heart-wrenching. You know how all these migrants are, immigrants, whatever, they're coming across the border, and I guess they're just making a mad dash before Trump gets in office or whatever.
Yeah.
There was a news story this morning where a 2-year-old little girl came across the border by herself.
Really?
She had a piece of paper on her that had some names on it. And the video, it had her face like fuzzed out or whatever, but the guy asked her, like what her name was, and she told him, and he asked her how old she was, and she held up 2 fingers. And they asked where her mommy and daddy were at, and she kept saying United States. So I don't know. I mean, I think about the 2-year-olds that are in my life, and when my children were 2 and everything, and you would ask them something, and they would just whatever popped in their head kind of thing. So I don't know if they, people had told this kid that she was going to the United States, or her parents were actually here without her. I have no idea, but nobody that she was with claimed her. I mean, no, there wasn't any adults around that said, hey, that kid's with me, or she's, whatever. 2 years old, Jason. She was 2 years old.
That's crazy.
And they said that there have been, what the number, it was like 360,000 children have come into the United States illegally or undocumented, whatever you want to call them, and they don't know where any of them are at.
Yeah.
360,000. And this 2-year-old little girl, I mean, it infuriates me.
Yeah. I've got a lot of questions about that, and most of them will go unanswered, honestly. I mean, because nobody's going to know, first off, how does a 2-year-old get that far?
Right.
Somebody's got to be watching out. Are her parents really in the United States? And if her parents are really in the United States, why was she not in the United States?
Right.
So a lot of stuff doesn't add up. And then also those, 360-some thousand unaccompanied kids that are coming over there, what do you think is going to happen to them? They're probably going to get...
Oh, they said that most of them have probably been trafficked.
Yeah. I mean, that's...
Oh, yeah.
That's probably what's going to happen. One guy said it best, and I forgot who it was, but they said the way to stop and this has been years ago, to stop the migrant crisis is quit making the United States attractive. I mean, stop with all the free crap. Stop with all
that girl, Laken Riley, was that in Georgia that happened? I think
so.
They said that because they interviewed a guy that was with the guy that is, I think his last name's Ibarra or something like that, the guy that killed her. They interviewed a guy that was with him, and he told them, the police, that they had been given money by the U.S. government. Wow. That they had plane tickets to where, they were at when he killed her. Plane tickets that had been paid for by the U.S. government. They were being shuttled around, whatever, given those, cards or credit card, whatever those cards are that they can just spend whatever, all the like this whole trip. And apparently that guy had done something to a little girl before that happened, and had gotten caught and released, and then he went out to kill Laken Riley.
Yeah. And now he's going to be sentenced to life in prison, and we're going to be paying for his sorry ass arrest.
Yeah, at our expense. Yep.
So, The one good thing that comes with prison is the way prisoners take care of stuff inside the prison.
That's the girl that I work with. She said, maybe that's all we can hope for. I know that's awful. I mean, it sounds so awful to even say that, but oh my gosh. I mean,
it's not awful.
I mean, I don't want to see, I'm not into violence, all of that kind of thing, but doggone. I mean, he hurt children. He killed that girl. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he hurt a kid and then killed a girl. He needs to die. That's my philosophy on it. And I mean, that's the way I stand on it. So, and while we're on that subject, it was funny today. I was in Sunbelt Rentals, and it's funny how stuff happens. I had on my wood chipper shirt and had it on, and one of the boys comes up and he goes, "I like your shirt." And then I was like, "Look at the back." He looked at the back. He goes, "I went to that festival." And I was like, "Did you?" And he was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Where can I get one of those?" And I gave him the website, and we were showing him. And I was like, "I'm one of the ones that puts that on." And he was like, "Oh, cool." He's like, I enjoyed it. He's like, "When's your next one?" So it's funny how somebody can see a shirt and then it turns into like a 20-minute conversation about all of it. He was like, "I enjoyed that." He was like, "Now are you going to do another one in March?" And I was like, "No." I was like, "We changed it. We're doing it one time a year, adding an extra day." And he was like, "That's awesome." He was like, "Let me know when you're doing the next one." I was like, "Okay." I was like, "It's in July." I was like, "But just keep checking the website."
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But I mean, I didn't mean to. I mean, I know we usually do something funny or whatever, but that just needed to be said. I don't know. It's ridiculous.
It is. And there's not a good way to fix it other than don't make the United States attractive and totally close the borders down, now I did see one guy, he was like, they ought to make a law that if you get caught in the United States illegally, we're deporting your butt and you never have a chance to come legally after that.
I thought they did that anyway.
Nah, hell, they don't do nothing.
Well, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, there's already a law in place for that. If you get deported, because I have a cousin and she was married to this guy from Germany and he got deported, and like you can come across the border from Mexico and it's no big deal. But she had to get a lawyer and pay all kinds of money for him to even get back into the United States. And they had to fight it tooth and nail. And it was that was the law, that you're not supposed to be able to come back if you're deported, which he wasn't like, there was no violence or, any of that kind of stuff. I don't know. But we have plenty of laws about immigration. They just don't enforce them.
Exactly. I mean, I'm seriously thinking about flying to Mexico and coming back across and getting my free debit card.
Right.
I mean, hell, it beats working. So,
Randy had to do. He's going to kill me for telling this, because every time we talk about him on here, the next day I'll get a text and it'll be like, "Really?"
Oh, he said something to me one day when he came over to bring something. He was like, "Shelly was blaming such and such on me," and I was like, "Randy, it kind of was your fault." So,
yeah, when I told the whole raccoon story about him, he was like, "Really? You had to tell the raccoon story?" But he was driving. This is back when he drove over the road, and back in the day before he was all completely gray-headed, he had hair as dark as mine. And every time every time he's out in the sun, he turns like brown as a biscuit. He'll get a tan and keep a tan and all that kind of stuff. And so he was delivering somewhere down, I want to say it was like Laredo or something like that, one of those border towns. Yeah. And he didn't actually go into Mexico, but where he had to deliver was on the other side of, like the big gates or what, the things they have set up where they stop you and make sure that you're legally coming into the country, right? And so he got down there and got delivered and was coming back through, and they stopped him and tried to detain him because they thought he was Mexican. And he was like, I am not Mexican. He's like showing him his driver's license and all this stuff. And they were like, they didn't think it was real, I guess, or whatever. And he called me and he was like, you'll never believe what happened to me. They tried to keep him down there.
We need to start calling him Rodrigo then.
It was funny.
That is funny. Well,
he was like, I'm not Mexican.
That's hilarious. Yeah, Randy's going to be calling you tomorrow.
Yeah, he'll be calling me after he sees this, I'm sure. We
need to get him a sombrero to wear on Saturday for us. If I get a chance, I'll stop and buy a sombrero and bring it up. Be like, wear this, my Mexican friend. Goodness. All right, since we went down every rabbit hole we can, what's the main topic you got for tonight, Shelley?
So the main topic for tonight is winter projects. So I think, and prep, yeah, because, Jason's all about prepping. Anyways, I think that a lot of times we get, like you're planting everything in the spring and harvesting and, planting more stuff in the summer and then harvesting in the fall and all of that. And you just kind of like in the wintertime, you're like, I don't have anything to do. But if anybody who's a homesteader knows, we still got stuff to do. And for those of you who are new to homesteading, this is kind of a list that I came up with of things that you probably still need to be thinking about. You don't have to do them, I guess, but then when the spring rolls around again and you've not been doing any of these things, you're sitting there going, doggone, I just wasted like 3 months of my time kind of thing. And in Kentucky, we have a pretty short winter. It's not
if one at all.
Yeah. Usually where we live, we get our bad weather like January, February. Sometimes we'll get snow in November or December, but it usually doesn't stick around. It doesn't last very long. And I can't even remember. When's the last time we saw a white Christmas? I can't even remember.
I don't know.
Maybe 10 years ago or something. It's been a long time.
I can't remember.
But we usually
I don't pay attention. I'm a Grinch on Christmas.
We usually get our bad weather in January or February, and then it doesn't last very long. And, March rolls around and things start popping up and, you start planting your garden in beginning of May. And in Kentucky, it's supposed to be you plant your garden the same weekend as Mother's Day.
That gives you an excuse not to go see your mom.
Right. But they almost always, if you plant your garden before Mother's Day, there's going to be a late frost or something like that that's going to kill everything you got. So it's probably better to wait for Mother's Day. But so I just have a list of things that you might want to consider looking at, thinking about, possibly doing during the winter months that are kind of homestead related, or they are homestead related, that will keep you on track and keep you from getting behind. So you ready for my list?
I'm ready.
Have you made a list? Your list might be the same as my list.
I'll go on the fly. I've got a little bit. I've got stuff that I need to do. So,
right.
So I mean that can be relative. I mean it's gonna come across pretty much everybody needs to do this.
So the first thing that I have on my list, which this is something that I just seem to do every year, just because you're stuck in the house because it's cold, you can't like hang out outside all the time. Clean up and purge. Like I'll start to go through when it starts to get cold out, I'll start going through, and that's when I like deep clean my closets and go through and get rid of old clothes and clean up rooms. Like the room I'm sitting in right now is my office / sewing room. And so when I moved my desk in here, I went through and cleaned out this room, and it's starting to get, I don't know, my sewing table is a little cluttered. I need to clean it off. It's not bad in here. But I'm going to, probably tomorrow night, I'm going to go through and clean my pantry. And because I've been doing, freezer inventories and getting, all food stuff in order and all that kind of thing, and just being aware of what I have in the house. If we have, a storm come through that takes out electricity, because a lot of times if we get bad storms in the wintertime, that'll happen. So I want to know what's where. So, if that happens, I know what freezer I have to get to first and, all that kind of stuff. So I'm always looking at cleaning up and purging things in the wintertime.
Well, I thought you were talking about like the purge, like going out and killing people. I was like,
it's funny because when I wrote that word on my list, I knew you were going to say that. I knew that was going to come out of your mouth.
I was like, damn, Skippy, let's go. Is it wintertime? I mean, I'll get my mask and put it on and we'll roll.
Oh my God. So, number 2, this is also the time of year that I go through and inventory my freezers and my pantry. And so I'm going to be checking, and I actually make a list of what is in my freezers and all of that. We've got 2 freezers down in the basement and a freezer that's a small freezer in our pantry, and then the freezer that's on our fridge. And then we've got 2 freezers out in the barn, and I just got those recently, and I'm going to put our boy hogs out there because we're not going to eat them. It's going to be for dog food. So that's all it's going to be out there. But I went through our big freezer and I cleaned it out and, going through your freezer, you're going to find things that are freezer burnt and stuff like that. You may not. You may do better at that than I do, but I found some things that were freezer burnt.
If you have a vac master, you won't.
I hope not. I hope that that's the case going forward. But even if you find those things that are freezer burnt, you can let that thaw out a little bit and feed it to your chickens. Don't throw that stuff away. Take it out and give it to your chickens. Or if it's chicken, go out and give it to your pigs or whatever.
I feed anything that's bad like that to the dogs. I mean, as far as meat and stuff like that, I'll feed it to the dogs.
My chickens will eat anything. So I just take it out and give it to the chickens. But yeah, right now is a good time to inventory your freezers and your pantry and make sure that you don't have any holes in your preps. There might be something that you need to get or put on your grocery list or whatever the next time that you go.
So now wait. So
okay.
You've got a whole inventory of everything that's in your freezer?
Well, yes. But it's right now, it's not up to date. So that's what I'm doing right now is updating my freezer inventory. But yeah. I have, and see, if I hadn't done that, because I was looking at what kind of seasonings I need for sausage, because we like hot sausage, regular sausage, and Italian sausage. And if I hadn't done that, I wouldn't know that downstairs I have 10 2-pound packages of hot sausage. Wow. And nobody else in our family, Randy and I are the only ones who like hot sausage.
Really?
I mean, we use it in chili. We use it, in dishes or just to cook it or whatever. So I would have made more hot sausage had I not gone down there and dug through those freezers and saw what was in there. And I don't need to. Actually, I think I got 13 2-pound packages of hot sausage. So I'm not going to make any more hot sausage this weekend. But I only had 1 package of Italian sausage. So I went online and ordered my Italian sausage seasoning that I like. And then I already have my regular sausage seasoning in there. So I'm good to go for this weekend. But yeah, I inventory our stuff.
See, I don't inventory it. I just slide it all in there, and I'm like, yeah, we got ground beef, we got sausage, and I just kind of, how I am. I plan everything.
You don't plan anything.
I know. I just throw it in there, and then Whitney asked me. She's like, "Do we have ground beef?" I'm like, "Yes, we have ground beef." "Do we have bacon?" "Yes, we have bacon." "Do we have so and so?" Oh, and speaking of all the food talk, we have to go over what we're going to have for Thanksgiving dinner here in a minute.
Okay.
So, no podcast would be complete if we didn't do a pre-Thanksgiving dinner.
All right.
But no, I do not have an inventory of what's in there. I'm kind of envious. If you get done with yours, you can come inventory mine.
No, I will not do that. Okay. I will, however, send you my spreadsheet so you can fill yours out.
That's a waste of time. I won't deny that. I'm just going to save you the typing on that one.
Oh, I thought you meant it was a waste of time that I inventory mine. I'm like, I don't feel like it's a waste of time, but okay.
No, it's a waste of time for you to send that to me.
I gotcha. So number 3 on my list, learn new skills. So right now, I can't think of the Facebook page, but there's a beekeeping class that is running next week. So it'll start, I think it starts December 2nd through, so that's like Monday through Friday. I think it's every night. It's pre-recorded. Well, two of the nights, the first 2 nights are pre-recorded 1 hour long sessions on beekeeping. And then the other 3 nights are like Zoom meetings with the people who put this on that you can ask them questions and stuff. And it costs $10. So I'm going to sign up and do it. Now, that doesn't mean, I don't have bees. At some point, I would like to get bees, but I look at that as just like an introductory thing to beekeeping for me to kind of get my feet wet and figure out. And I've heard people speak about bees and all that kind of stuff, but it's going to cost me $10. So, whatever. But, and then there's another class that I signed up for that started today that is about elderberry. So like how to grow elderberry, how to propagate elderberry, how to make different, like tinctures or cough syrup, all that kind of stuff with elderberry. So learn a new skill or go to a festival and figure out, go learn something from a festival or call somebody or join your community, figure out some people in your community that you can go watch them do what they do kind of thing. But use this downtime to either read a book, learn a skill, whatever, educate yourself in something that you don't know.
Oh, yeah. Right now, when it's cold outside and you really don't want to do a whole lot of stuff, that's a great time to learn some skills. And that kind of goes along. We have not set the dates yet, but we're going to be doing some pig processing classes at my house. So keep that kind of in the back of your mind. That's another way to learn some skills. Once we have the date set, we'll put them out for everybody. And I've already got some interest in it. Some people have been hitting me up about it. They're like, when are you going to set the date? I was like, I will know something probably this weekend. But yeah, learning new skills. If it's, 12 degrees outside and the wind's blowing, it's like, hey, today's a good time to grab a book. Go buy some books and sit there by the fire and drink some hot chocolate and read some books and learn some crap.
Yep. So number 4 on my list, plan your garden and order your seeds. You now if you're to the point where you're, getting your own seeds, harvesting your own seeds and everything, then you probably don't need this winter project list, right? Because you've already got a lot of your ducks in a row. But if you are ordering your seeds from a seed company, you need to be doing that now. Especially if you have a short growing season, because if you have a short growing season, you're going to have to start growing seeds indoors for like things like tomatoes and pepper, especially peppers. You're going to have to start that stuff indoors as early as February. So plan your garden, figure out where you're going to put stuff. And a garden journal is a great thing to have. And, like drawing out a map of where you put things year to year. That way you can change up what beds you're putting things in, because different garden plants take different nutrients out of the soil and put other nutrients back into the soil. So if you move your stuff around, it kind of confuses those pests that get into your garden, but it can also help keep your soil pretty healthy too.
And going along with that, in the wintertime, that's the best time to plant your fruit trees.
Yes.
They'll probably, I'd say probably close to the first of the year, something like that, they'll start shipping out bare root trees. Like a lot of my fruit trees still have leaves on them, so they hadn't totally went dormant yet. But yeah, I mean, wintertime, and anybody will tell you that's educated about trees, wintertime's the best time to plant your trees.
Yeah.
So I've had a couple
It gets
trees.
them in the ground and gets them acclimated to your soil, and then they can just take right off in the springtime.
Yeah, I've got a few fruit trees that have died. So I'm looking to plant some more this fall, and I'll probably add a few more in. So I'll probably put another 10 trees out, something like that. But that's my thing. I like the whole perennial deal as opposed to the annual stuff.
Yeah. House repairs. So you may have I don't know, this is Randy and I. We spend when it's warm outside, we do a lot of outside projects and work on a lot of outside things. And sometimes the house gets neglected because we're working on the outside things and, systems and all of that kind of thing. So in the wintertime, if you've got projects in the house or things that need to be done in the house, it's a good time to do that because you're in the warm house and, you can get that done. So, like if you wanted to repaint your bathroom or deep clean your kitchen, your cabinets, all that kind of stuff, or any kind of, I'm not going to say like appliances. I mean, you got to fix those or replace those or whatever when they happen. But, it's just repairs that need to be done on your house that you can do inside when it's cold out and you can stay in the warm house.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like there's always something to fix on a house.
Yeah.
So I get that. And my house is usually the last one that something gets fixed on.
Yeah, we're always like, well, we could do this, or we wanted to just, when we moved into this house, like I wanted to put new flooring all through the house. I wanted to tear up the carpet in the living room. I hate the carpet in my living room. I wanted to tear up the carpet, tear up the flooring that's in our dining room. There's the room that I'm in. There's green carpet in here. I wanted to tear all that out and have all the same flooring all through the house. And that was the one thing when we bought the house. We did a lot of stuff, but we just ran out of funds and didn't get to do the floors. And so now, like we have all our stuff in here, so we'd have to move all the furniture out and all that kind of thing, do the floors. And so it might be another 10 years because every time I think, oh, I want to redo the floors, I'm like, but I could be buying fencing or like there's always something outside. And, like the outside stuff is our end game, right? Because that's like our food. I mean, that's providing for us and being sustainable and all of that. So I don't know. You just got to weigh everything and figure out what's high on your priority list kind of thing.
Oh, yeah. Like my front porch columns have never gotten done on the house. I've got steel. I think they're 4x4 steel columns that I had my buddy weld up. We stuck those up there when we built it. And I'm just like, yeah, I'll build some porch columns. And my whole plan was I was going to let my dad build the porch columns for me. I told him, we had the conversation. This is what I want. All this stuff. I'm like, when it cools off, we'll get them done. And he's like, okay. But now my dad can't do it because he's had a stroke several years ago. And I'm like, that plan went up in smoke. And it's just like, the front porch looks fine. There's steel columns there. It's structurally fine. They don't look pretty, but the front porch is standing up. I've got other stuff to do. So one of these days, Whitney will have a nice front porch columns. I'm not promising her when, but one of these days.
So next time,
I'll tell you, out of all the people that have been to my house, I mean, there's been a lot of people at my house. Nobody has shown up and been like, "Damn, you need to do your front porch columns." So
I thought that that's just what you wanted. But I didn't know that wasn't okay.
Oh no, the plan is to have these nice, pretty white raised panel columns, like you'd see kind of like on a southern house. So now the gig's up. Now everybody knows. Now people are going to say it.
Next time I come over, I'm gonna be like, "Damn, those do look like shit."
I might just hit them with some sandpaper and spray paint them black and be like, "There you go."
There you go. Next on my list is reevaluate your systems
or your life.
Or your life. And by systems, I mean, like right now we have where our rabbits are at. when Darren and Patty were here, Darren and Patty both, they sat down with me and they went through everything I need to set up a watering system for my rabbits. So Patty sent me all of the things on Amazon so I wouldn't have to go search for stuff, what I needed to order, how I needed to set it up, and all of that kind of thing. And so now I have everything and I'm ready to go out there and do that. So when I say reevaluate your systems, watering my rabbits, each rabbit cage has its own individual waterer. So I have to go out there daily and fill up waterers. And we have 1, 2, 3, we have 8 rabbit cages. I mean, that's not, it only takes me like 15 minutes. Well, probably about 20 minutes to feed everybody, including the rabbits. But it makes me mad that I have to go out there and do that. Plus, it's wintertime now, and those waterers will freeze. Well, this new system that I'm getting ready to install has a heater for the water and all that stuff. The water is continuously circulating, so it's not going to freeze, hopefully. I mean, there's just, so many bonuses for that. So, and just like when we first got our hogs, we had troughs that we watered them out of. Well, now we have a rain catchment system with big IBC totes, and that's what they drink out of. And we don't ever have to water the hogs now. So, when you start doing this, you have, ways that are set up to feed your animals, or water them, or maybe how your garden is, or maybe you don't have, maybe when you started putting things out there, you didn't think about zones like in permaculture and putting the right things in the right zones. So as you learn these things, or as more money becomes available to you or whatever, then you can upgrade and move some things around and all of that. So the wintertime is a good time to evaluate those systems and see, is this working for me the way it is? Is this going to be easy if I have somebody to come farm sit for me? Or if, in 10 years, I'm going to be 65 or whatever, do I want to be walking and doing this? I mean, just sit and look at those things and see if that's still working for you.
Oh yeah, I mean the time to evaluate some of that stuff is wintertime, because in my opinion, wintertime is the hardest time to do a lot of the stuff. I mean, you're cold, water freezes up, your hoses freeze up. I mean, I know in the winter to do the sheep and the cow and everything, to water them. After I fill the water trough up, I drag the hose up the hill and make sure all of it drains. So then when I come back down the next day, I don't have to worry about it frozen, anything like that. And then your tank heaters, to keep everything thawed out. That's the bane of my existence. I hate messing with those things. They don't ever make one that stays good for a whole season. It's like you always end up buying 2 or 3 a year. And I'm like, can somebody make one that work at least one season? I would be tickled to death with it.
Yeah.
That or the stupid, sometimes the sheep will knock the thing out of the trough and it's sitting there beside it. And I'm like, how stinking stupid are y'all sometimes? But yeah, I mean, I think wintertime is a great time to evaluate the stuff. The summer, it's hot and it sucks and it's humid, but you don't have to worry about stuff freezing up. I mean, you can take your IBC tote and fill it all the way up for the pigs. Like my pigs are down on the other side of the property. I can fill that thing up and not worry about it freezing or anything else. But now, you've got wintertime coming, and hopefully if everything goes right, there won't be any more pigs on the property this winter after we butcher them for a little while.
And then number 7 on my list is, once you've evaluated all those systems or reevaluated them, then plan your spring projects. You can sit down and talk about what you need to fix and everything, but nobody wants to be out there fixing stuff when you got 6 inches of snow on the ground or a foot of snow on the ground. So plan out what you're going to need. If you don't like the way that your watering system works for your rabbits or whatever, what are you going to need to update that? And also it gives you, if you're evaluating it right now and you plan on changing that system in March or April or something like that, it gives you a few months to save the money to get the stuff that you need. Or, maybe you order 2 or 3 components now and 2 or 3 components next month, or whatever you need to do. But plan those spring projects so you can hit the ground running before you got to put your garden in and all that stuff. Because once you put your garden in, it's like that takes all the time right there, weeding and all that stuff. So
yeah, I'm kind of the opposite. I would rather build and do projects in the wintertime than the summer. I would much rather throw on a pair of insulated overalls and a nice heavy jacket and some gloves and work all day out in the cold than work when it's 95 degrees.
I don't like being cold.
Oh, I mean,
I prefer, this is funny. I started to say I do prefer the winter to the summer. I really prefer the fall. That's my favorite time of year. But I do not, as much as I like the winter, I want to be warm inside. The older that I get, the more I am not designed for the cold. Like I once I get cold, I just hurt. I ache or whatever, and I don't like it. So I don't want to get really cold. Y'all know what I'm talking about out there, you old folks like me.
Years ago when we were framing houses, I loved framing houses in the wintertime because, it was nice. We always had scrap lumber, so we'd always start a fire. And if we got cold, we'd go stand by the fire and warm up for a little bit and then go. I've done it before here. I'm working outside. I'll grab some brush and go ahead and just burn a pile of brush. If you get real cold, just run over there by it for a little bit and go on about your business. The one thing I wished I had a cab on my tractor. Would be super nice, but I don't know. If y'all
had a tractor with a cab that I could stay warm in, I would work outside all the time.
But if enough people go to Backmaster Fresh, we can have cab tractors,
There you go, guys. Backmasterfresh.com right there.
It's going to take a whole lot of chamber sealers.
So the last thing that is on my list, and again, if you guys think of things that we forgot, or Jason's maybe adding a couple things to this or whatever, put them down in the comments if you're some things that you do in the wintertime that didn't make my list. But the last thing that I have on my list is butchering. Yeah. Because I much prefer to butcher in the wintertime than in the summertime, especially like hogs need to be butchered in the wintertime. And we have killed hogs as late as April. And as early as September, I guess. But if you butcher hogs in the hot months, and they better not be big ones, because, you could probably butcher a small one in the summertime, but you've got to get that thing pieced out and those parts cooling down as quick as you can. You've only got a couple hours from the time that you kill it until you get it in the freezer if the temperature is above 40 degrees. Yeah. So just like that one that we're butchering this weekend, Randy, she's a big hog, and Randy wants to try to butcher her. He wants to try to kill and eviscerate her on Friday night so we can leave her hanging all night in the barn, because it's supposed to get down to like 30 degrees. And hogs are easy, just like deer. People do this all the time with deer. Animals are easier to butcher, to cut into parts if the meat is cold. Yeah. So he wants to let her hang overnight and us just tear into it and be done with it pretty early on Saturday morning. But if the temperature is not below 40 degrees, preferably around 30 degrees, you can't do that. You can't, for one thing, when the temperature gets up between 40 and 50, flies will start flying around, and you don't want that stuff on your meat. No. As long as the temperature is below 40 degrees, you don't have to worry about stuff like that. So butchering is a great time of the year, or winter. I don't even know what I'm talking about now. Winter is a great time of the year to butcher any of your animals, because it keeps down contamination, just all of that kind of stuff. It all works better in the winter time. And that's all I have on my list.
The only other thing, and I'm glad you got to butchering, because butchering, the only thing that I would not like to butcher in the wintertime is chickens. just because you've got
You have a
so
lot of
much,
water.
yeah, you got so much water. Let me.
Yeah, you got to use a lot of water to butcher chickens. And even if you're not using a plucker, you still got it. You got to hose them down and keep cleaning them off and all that stuff. And you're right. I wouldn't want to do that in the wintertime because that would just be kind of miserable.
Oh yeah, that would be miserable. I wouldn't want to do it. I would be afraid, because you got your plucker going and all that water and everything else. I mean, your hands are going to get wet and it's going to get miserable.
Yeah.
But yeah, butchering in the wintertime, that's when I like doing it, where you don't have to rush near as much. You can take your time. You can let it hang if you want to. Typically, I don't like it hanging. I just like to go ahead and get it done. I just like to get everything dirty once and be done with it. The only other thing is make sure your animals have a nice spot for a shelter. Get the animals out of the wind and the rain. They can handle. I mean, I've got a stinking. I mean, it's not the Taj Mahal of a barn, but I think it's a pretty nice barn. It's 16 by 50 barn, and I can close it up to where the wind doesn't come in. They've got stalls and everything else. I used to take and I would throw 4 or 5 bales of straw down there, have it nice and lush where they could come lay in there. And I would walk out there and it'd be snowing and the sheep are standing underneath the cedar tree. And I'm like, damn. I was like, you've got this nice.
All that hay.
Yeah. And I'm like, you got all this nice barn and everything else. And I mean, I would go in the barn and it would be 15 degrees warmer inside that barn than outside, but the sheep are standing underneath the cedar tree. And it's like Whitney asked me, she was like, do we need to get some straw and put in the barn? I was like, no. I was like, I'm not strawing the barn anymore. I was like, they sit outside, so they can sit outside. I'm about half tempted to make the barn part of my shop and say the heck with it. So, but yeah, that as long as get your animals somewhere where they can get out of the wind and get out of the rain, they can take the cold temperatures and stuff like that. I mean, heck, Greg Judy doesn't have a barn on any of his farms that he uses for the animals. I've seen videos. He'll talk about it. He's like, we keep cedar trees down in these little draws and real thick cedars, and the cows get down in these thick cedars where the wind can't hit them, and they'll bed down for the night. He said you walk in there and there's no wind coming through those cedar trees.
Doesn't he live in Missouri?
Yeah, he lives in Missouri, and
it gets freaking cold in Missouri.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not. I mean, it gets cold here in Kentucky, but we got a lot of hills and hollers, especially where I live. And it's not, the wind will kind of blow through and everything. And it gets cold here. But out there where it's kind of like flat land, that wind will cut right through you. It just, I'm surprised that's pretty cool that he doesn't have to have barns and stuff for him.
Yeah, he puts them all in cedar thickets. And he was moving them over when that big Arctic blast a couple of years ago came through, and it was like snowmageddon and like super freezing cold weather. He did a video on it. He was like, yeah, he said we moved the herd over. There's a stupid fly in here. He said we moved the herd over to where we had some real dense cedar thickets, and he was like, they were fine in those cedar thickets. He said we went out and checked on them several times, and they were fine. So I was like, that's cool. Yeah. But that's probably all. I mean, as far as generic stuff that people need to get done, not specialized stuff like you need to do this, you need to do that. I tell you one thing: make sure you've got, as far as your faucets and stuff like that. Make sure your faucets aren't going to freeze up on your house and your barn and stuff like that. Just watch that kind of stuff, because I know we can have a cold snap and people's faucets freeze and everything else. But yeah, there's all kinds of stuff. I mean, getting your wood cut, getting your wood brought in, tons of stuff like that. Now would be a good time, if you've not checked your generator, to get your generator out and make sure that thing's going to run.
Yep.
So I haven't ran mine in probably 2 months, but I use non-ethanol fuel in it. And I've never had any problems after using non-ethanol fuel, but I'll probably get them out maybe Friday. That'll be my Black Friday shopping. I'll go down and pretend I bought a new generator and fire them up and do that. Because Lord knows I'm not going anywhere on Black Friday.
Yeah, we're going to be cleaning up our barn and possibly killing a hog Friday night.
I have a feeling that you're conning me to come up there and help you on Friday night, aren't you?
No, I'm trying to avoid it. I'm going to try to call my brother.
I might can come up Friday night. So it just depends. I don't have plans Friday night. Hey, Thanksgiving dinner, what are you having?
Thanksgiving dinner, let's see. Okay, so we always deep fry our turkeys. Right. We love deep fried turkey. So we've got 2 turkeys that we're going to deep fry.
Like deep fried turkeys.
Do what?
The Mexicans like deep fried turkeys.
Oh, Jesus. Anyway, deep fried turkey. And so then I make sweet potatoes, which is I like sweet potatoes that are like roasted in the oven, but then I have a recipe for sweet potatoes that's my grandmother's recipe that I don't really like it. It has like this syrupy stuff that goes over it and everything you make with brown
marshmallows.
Sugar. No, I don't use marshmallows. But it's my grandma's recipe and everybody else loves it. So I always make that every Thanksgiving. And then I also make mashed potatoes. I make gravy. We make baked macaroni and cheese. That's also my grandmother's recipe. So we make that. And then my sister-in-law, I don't like stuffing. So my sister-in-law always makes the stuffing and brings it. And then, Jessica always makes green bean casserole and brings it. And, I have my son-in-law, Clayton, works for T. Marzetti's. Yeah. Which is up in Cave or Horse Cave. And so T. Marzetti is a sister company to Sister Schubert. Oh, yeah. And so he always brings us free Sister Schubert rolls all the time. So
those rolls are good.
I know they're delicious. And he brings, we can get the square ones that are really good or the pan of those ones that are like the sweet ones. Oh my God, those are the best.
The square ones are the best.
So anyways, we'll have Sister Schubert rolls for Thanksgiving. And then my sister-in-law is making a pumpkin pie and a pecan pie. Randy might make a peanut butter pie. We usually have one of those too. I'm trying to think. I think that's it. Oh, and I make cranberry salsa that is delicious. You know, I don't know if you watch it or not, but the Acre Homestead, she has a YouTube channel. She has a website that's called scratchpantry.com. And if you go on there and Google or search on her website for cranberry salsa, oh my God, this stuff is so good. And it's got cilantro in it. It has 2 jalapenos. It's got like a cup of sugar and some other spices and then cranberries, and you blend it all up and then pour it over whipped cream cheese. It is delicious. So that's because I don't really like cranberry sauce. I always get a can of cranberry sauce because my brother loves it, and it's not Thanksgiving without a can of cranberry sauce, sliced up. And so we'll have that too, but I make the cranberry salsa because I love that stuff. So,
well, we're doing a turkey. We got a whole turkey. We're going to cook. I think Whitney's just doing it in the oven. Of course, we'll have dressing, gravy, mashed potatoes, and now here the consensus. Do you like dry dressing or wet dressing?
I don't like dressing at all.
No,
I don't eat dressing. No, my sister-in-law makes a dry dressing. Okay, it's like baked or whatever.
Yeah, but is it like crunchy or is it moist? Like dry, crusty dressing is nasty. I think
it's moist. It's almost cake-like looking or something. Yeah.
So we're gonna have dressing, gravy, mashed potatoes, sweet potatoes, green beans. And the thing I'm excited about is we're having a standing rib roast. So, what?
You're having turkey and See, okay, are you one of these people that we were talking about this at work? We have a girl that we work with. She got married Saturday night. So a group of us were driving over to Bowling Green to go to her wedding. And we were talking about Thanksgiving dinner and what we're making. And one of the girls sitting in the back seat, she said that somebody was bringing the turkey and she was making the ham.
Yeah.
And I was like, why are you having ham and turkey? And she goes, because that's what you do for Thanksgiving. And I was like, we have turkey on Thanksgiving and ham on Christmas. We do not cook both of them. And she goes, I don't even know if I can talk to you anymore. She said, I thought everybody has ham and turkey on Thanksgiving. And I guess some people do, but we don't.
Any respectable person does.
Whatever. Respect my ass.
The only thing I like on the turkey is the skin.
Well, when you deep fry it, the skin is delicious.
Oh, I know. But no, we do standing rib roast and a turkey just because I don't like turkey. And I told Whitney, I was like, I'm going to buy a standing rib roast and I'm cooking it.
I love turkey. I love it.
What I'm excited about, though, is Thanksgiving night because there will still be a few people up here and everything. So Whitney's like, do you want something else for Thanksgiving, like dinner at night? Because we're going to do lunch. And I'm like, yeah. I was like, what are you thinking? She goes, what if I went to ABC Seafood in E-Town? And I'm like, ooh, do tell. So she is making lobster bisque that night and then I think she's doing crab legs or shrimp.
Wow. So
I'm like, yes, ma'am. I'm going to have standing rib roast for lunch. And then I'm going to have lobster bisque and crab legs or shrimp that night.
Yeah, we're not eating until like 2:00, so that'll be probably the only meal that we'll have that day.
See, I'm not really one to like binge out on Thanksgiving. I mean, I'll eat like a big old piece of standing rib roast and dressing, and then maybe some mashed potatoes and be done. And then by about 6 or 7 o'clock, I'm gonna be like, bring on the lobster bisque. So, because I didn't
realize that there was an ABC Seafood in E-Town.
Yeah.
Like, so they'll drive up from the Gulf and they stop at they'll stop in Glasgow. The day that they stop in Glasgow, that you can go up to TSC and get your stuff or whatever. Because I've gotten shrimp and gator and all kinds of stuff from them. I didn't realize they had an actual store in E-Town.
Yeah. She's going to run up there. She's running up there Wednesday to pick the stuff up.
I need to look that up because we like those red shrimp that they have. Those things are delicious.
Those things are as big as your freaking finger. As big as
I know. They're huge.
You eat like 4 of those and you're like, man,
that's full. A whole meal.
Yeah. All right. Now I'm hungry. Now I'm going to have to go eat dinner. So
I actually have some comments that people have left from past episodes and we haven't done. We haven't talked about like Q&A or comments or anything like that. Do you want to
throw a couple out?
Okay. So our episode that we had that was the one where we were talking about the different scenarios. We had all those different scenarios and we were going over those. Remember that? Yeah. So Coonies are great. He said, hello, Shelly and Jason. Because we were talking about wildfires, remember? It said, if you consider a wildfire doesn't damage the seed bank of nature, I would be hard-pressed to believe that it would, that more than 18 inches of dirt cover would be necessary. Yeah, because we were talking, okay.
We were talking
about burying stuff, remember? Yeah. And then it said, a bonfire isn't a good test for a wildfire. It has to be more like a controlled burn through the living woods. This is the way Native people managed the forest and plains for many, many years. Depending on the area you live in, physically depends on how deep you would have to bury your provisions. Great topic, by the way. Well. Let's see. Melanie, Melanie that helps with our social media. Yeah. She said, what great information. The different scenarios made me do some thinking. Thank you for taking the time to do this, and God bless you all. And then the video that we did for, well, wait a minute. Let me go down here. One more person commented on that one. Lawrence, it said last year during October, November, and December, we only went to the grocery store once a month, and that was for little things like milk, bread, and cheese. It's fun to do, plus you get to cycle through your food preps. I could do a no-shop January. That was Lawrence McCoy that said that. And then On our the one that we did about Ukraine, the live that we did, are we headed towards WW3? Melanie said, another great video. They took 1 acre of our property to build one of those roundabouts, shaking my head. Clint hates those things, and we can't fight them since they took it under eminent domain. Thank you for taking the time, and God bless y'all.
Oh,
so
yeah.
those are just a few comments from some of our videos.
Yeah. Roundabouts are communist.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, they're not good for anything. All right. Well, I think I've said about all I can. I'm getting hoarse and I'm tired. So, guys, we appreciate you listening. What?
You guys, everybody out there, y'all have a wonderful Thanksgiving. We're probably not going to be making another video before Thanksgiving or another podcast. So, y'all have a wonderful Thanksgiving, and God bless y'all, and hug your family and all of that kind of stuff.
Even if you don't like them.
Even if you don't like them. It's all good.
All right. We'll see y'all next week. Y'all have a good Thanksgiving. Bye.
Talk to you later. Bye.